Hello, it is Friday, December 9th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Friday puzzle, so a themeless puzzle today, and perhaps a bit of a tricky one. You never know. Friday sometimes is sort of difficult, and sometimes it's just a bit mischievous, I think, with respect to the cluing. We'll have to find out. So this potentially mischievous edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Jenny Montague, Lewis Williams, and a new benefactor. So welcome to Tom Nemsek, and thank you so much, Tom, for becoming a benefactor and directly supporting this channel. I do very much appreciate it. And your support helps keep this channel sustainable. And Tom, as well as Jenny and Lewis, are of course joined, as always, by the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you to the 5 of them, all benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support. And if you'd like to join their ranks and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, as Tom will do soon enough, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve or in a link in the description field underneath the video. And if you'd like to become a patron at any level and get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week, you can find that as well at that very same link in the description field or patreon.com/dailysolve. And you'll get all those bonus videos, including I'm going to be solving today, I think, the next acrostic puzzle. Especially now that the current season of the Boss Words Fall Themeless League competition puzzles has concluded, I'm going to continue working through my acrostic puzzle backlog. So we'll do one of those today and see how I manage it. If you're a patron, you can check that out probably tomorrow. All right, and do subscribe to the channel. You can also join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link in the description field. And with all of that said, let's get on to the crossword itself. So this is a Friday puzzle, as noted, a themeless crossword constructed by Brooke Husick and Huang Kim Vu. I think Brooke Husick, somewhere around a dozen puzzles, Huang Kim Vu around half a dozen puzzles. And it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving. Something faithfully rolled out. Faithfully roll out an old something. It sounds like something that would be recurrent. What is this? Abbreviation at a pump. Miles per gallon or something? Or I'm wondering if it's a pump at a service station. Runner, e.g. This feels like it could be many things. Could be a rug. I have this, maybe rugs are in my mind because I was thinking of rolling out the red carpet, which I don't think is the answer here, but it just put it in my mind. Roll out. I can't see it. Huge pop star, question mark, some sort of pun. Not sure. Take in. Absorb or let in, it wouldn't repeat in. Sad to say. Alas, maybe? Take in, admit, as in admit people to your home, take them into your home, maybe in that sense. Natural rubber. Is latex a natural rubber? I don't think so. That was synthesized in some way. Flick is a flick, right? I was thinking of flick, the verb, but no, not in this case. Lawyer and voting rights activist Sherilyn. Do I know who this is? I'm not sure off the top of my head. Some Starbucks orders. End with an S, probably. Sets. Gels, maybe? As in, a glue or something like that. Setting, or you wouldn't necessarily say gelling, but something sort of forming up. I think that's probably the answer. Stay put. I can take care of this myself. Don't get up. Yeah, that looks right. Oh, maybe natural rubber is a loofah, the sort of, sea growth that, oceanic substance that is used for, kind of as a sponge. Okay, bone also called the incus. The anvil from the ear? I think that's probably what this is. Some Starbucks, talls. Is that one of the Starbucks sizes? Tall. Right, that must be it. This looks like Eiffel. I mean, that's a name. I don't know that I necessarily know this person, but Eiffel is a name. So doesn't move, holds still or stays still. We'll need an S here. Lies still? What about this? Makeup corrector. A swab, maybe? Like a cotton swab, maybe, to correct a bit of makeup? I'm not 100% confident about this, but let's check the crosses. Alma mater for Henry Louis Gates Jr. Must be Yale University. And I'm saying that based on the crosses essentially here, but it seems plausible. Oh, I just realized as we're kind of describing this curve here, this is a diagonally symmetrical clue. It sort of looks like a bow with an arrow being drawn. It's kind of what it looks like to me. I'm only pointing it out because typically it's more common for the crossword to be radially symmetrical, which is to say, if you rotated the grid 180 degrees, the black cells would maintain their positions. Whereas in this case, if you perform that rotation, the black cells would be in a completely different arrangement. They wouldn't match up. But if you folded the grid along a diagonal axis, this particular positive diagonal axis, then it would maintain its symmetry. And that's just less common. So that's interesting. I wonder, there must be words that fit in this manner in such a way that facilitated. But it looks nice. It's a very pretty arrangement. Anyway, Greek for word. Is it logos? I think that might be it, but I definitely need to check the crosses on that. Root. Get to the bottom of it. Get to the root of it. Fruit in some agua fresca. Guava. So I know of agua fresca as being a Mexican drink. I don't know if it has. I don't actually know if it's maybe also associated with Spain, but having grown up in Southern California, I associate it with taquerias and things like that. Okay, decided, opted, chose. Logos looks good to me. Wall decor in some parlors. Tattoo art in a tattoo parlor? So I suppose that could either mean designs used in tattoos or photographs of tattoos having been applied. I'm not sure which this is specifically referring to, but this seems like a plausible answer to me. What's past due? And high gear, overdrive in an automotive sense. And clicked is made sense. That made sense. Right. I think that clicks with me. That makes sense. Online forum VIPs could be mods, moderators. And umami flavor enhancement, MSG, monosodium glutamate, imparts a savory umami flavor to foods. And I think is not thought to be dangerous in the way. I remember when I was younger, there were sort of scares around MSG and it being a harmful substance. And I think, as with most culinary substances, it is possible for individuals to have sensitivity to it, but it is not. I don't think it's thought to currently be harmful in any broad way relative to anything else that you could eat too much of, I guess. Ticked off, sore, and excited shout after a thrill ride. Let's go again. It'll be something again, obviously. Let's do it again. Let's ride it again. No, we wouldn't repeat the word ride. Physicians group, the American Medical Association, perhaps? And sacred symbol. What is a sacred symbol? A charm? That doesn't seem sacred enough. It seems more superstitious than sacred, linguistically. I'm not sure. What about this? Home inspection concern. A leak or electrical code or something? Il Trovatore, for one, would be an opera. Oops. Blank Island. Treasure Island is too long. What about this with the palindromic name? Well, when we see a clue that indicates the answer is palindromic, we can go ahead and mirror any letters because a palindrome is a word that that reads identically when starting from either end. So the O is going to be in the same position. So it's probably auto, which is a name that is palindromic. So sacred symbol, does that help? I'm not sure, not just yet. What about this? Settles for the night. Goes, nods off, or settles for the night. Oh, I'm not sure. Does the S go? The S could go here, or it could go here, depending on if this is a one or two word. Or here, I suppose, but less likely. Blank island. I'm sure this will be obvious in retrospect. Knowing is half the battle spot, in brief. I suppose this could be a PSA, a public service announcement. Often when you see spot, it's referring to an ad spot, so a television advertisement. And a PSA is a public service announcement or a non-commercial ad spot. Store for a short time. Something up. Oh, totem could be a sacred symbol. There we go. So this isn't up, but store for a short. Oh, a pop-up shop. There we go. So a store that exists inside a space that is not permanently associated with that store, but they pop up there for maybe a day or a week or even a month or something. Okay, options in some eyeshadow palettes. Hues or... not sure offhand. What about this? Hit 2012 film or a possible response to whether you've seen it. Nope. Jordan Peele's latest film, which I have seen, so I would not reply as such if you asked me. Knowing all about. I'm up on it. I'm knowing all about it. That seems reasonable. Options in some eyeshadow palette. Oh, nudes as in sort of flesh tones, perhaps is what this is referring to. And, oh, Easter Island, right, okay. Probably should have been a bit more obvious, but got there eventually. It's right on a map. Oh, a red state, right, okay. So obviously when we think of a map, we think of directions like right and left if we see the word right, but this is using a bit of misdirection in a U.S. political context to indicate that the political right is associated with the Republican Party in the U.S. whose color is red. So a red state is what this is referring to. A state that tends to vote Republican. So settles for the night is... I don't know. What about this? Dazed. In a stupor, maybe? And monopolizing, in a way. Is something up, maybe? Something blanking up. Started. Begun? And bank earnings are interest. And a bird that can recognize itself in a mirror. Oh, that's kind of interesting. A magpie, maybe? It's based on that IE at the end. Can recognize itself in a mirror. That's very interesting. Many animals clearly cannot. If you've ever seen many pets in front of mirrors. Part of a flower's gynoecium. A pistil. I mean, that's the... Or is it this? That's something to do with reproductive organs of plants, but I'm going to need to check the cross on this. Kind of engineer or engraving, probably engineer. Electric, I'm not sure. I probably will recognize this when I see it, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. Oh, it could be a civil engineer. That would work with my thinking about an I there. Civil engineer. Let's see if this V works. Tony winning actress Gwen. Oh, not sure offhand. Tony, so that would be theatrical awards. Broadway and such. A statement and a closing argument. A closing argument with a question mark. So I'm thinking closing is maybe being used in a punny way because of the pun indicator, the question mark here. So maybe it's not a closing argument, meaning the final word on a topic, but maybe it's an argument about closing a store or something? I'm not sure. Let's look around. Limits. I don't know. That looks funny with this I here. I would have assumed an S at the end. Keeping quiet at the right time, say. I'm not sure what's going on here in general. Odi et blank, start of an old Latin poem. I don't know this either. What about this? Hawaiian mountain. I don't know. It's not Mauna. Oh, maybe it is Mauna, as in Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. Right, okay. So does that mean mount or mountain in Hawaii, the Hawaiian language? I actually didn't know that. That's really interesting. I think that might be what that is. Does that help here? Monopolizing in a way. And keeping quiet at the right time. Oh, tact. Right, okay. So how I read this clue initially was as an adjective. You're saying that person is keeping quiet at the right time. That person is tactful, you could say. Whereas what this is referencing is the noun form. It's saying, it's referring to the concept of keeping quiet at the right time, the concept of tact. So there we go. Or the quality of those things, you could say. So what about this again? Limits. Oh, the ambit, the limits of sort of my authority, the ambit of my authority, maybe you could say. That seems reasonable. So monopolizing in a way is buying up, cornering the market in that sense, maybe. And that's why, in a way, I suppose, is here. Buying up doesn't literally mean monopolizing, but you could say, in a way, if you, I don't know, bought up all of the shares of a particular company, you're sort of monopolizing them. That's not a great comparison, but you take my point, I'm sure. So statement in a closing article, argument, something account or accounts? That seems relevant because you can close out accounts, but I don't quite see the whole thing. So let's check the crosses on this. One may have a name in Italian, German, and French. What on earth does this say? I don't know what this is getting at. Tool in a mixologist's set. So a mixologist, I think, is a fairly modern term to describe essentially a bartender, but who makes, I don't know, high-end drinks. I don't exactly really know how to describe that. I guess someone who cares quite a bit about cocktails and the real specificity of cocktails as opposed to generalized bartending that would include other things. I think mixology is particularly about making mixed drinks, cocktails. So I guess that makes sense. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not seeing enough here to confirm this accounts, so I'm going to delete it. Tony winning actress for one, right? I'm still not sure about that. Lil Joey for one. Oh, a roo, a kangaroo. Baby kangaroo is a Joey. And then, and the Lil, the contracted little to Lil, indicates we're also going to be contracting the answer to the crossword. So kangaroo becomes abbreviated to roo. Okay, this looks like it'll be a device, a something, or a peeler to peel strips of zest from fruit, which is certainly something that is a garnish for some cocktails, so that's plausible. More fair, paler skin is more fair. Italian author Ferrante, who wrote the Neapolitan novels, Elena Ferrante. These are absolutely brilliant novels. My Brilliant Friend is the first one, and that's the name of the also the name of the television series, which was adapted from the books, and it's also very good. They've released a couple, I don't remember, 3 maybe seasons, and it's good. It's gorgeous to look at, but the books are just absolutely incredible. Anyway, one may have a name in Italian, German, and French. What is this saying? One may have a name. Oh, an Alp? As in a mountain? Because it might have that, a given Alp, a given mountain in the Alps might have its own name in each of these languages, of course, because you do have the Italian Alps, the German Alps, and the French Alps. Is that kind of, I think that might be what this is getting at. So then this looks like the word accept or some form of it. Statement in a closing argument. Accepted, something accepted, apology accepted. Ah, what is that? Okay, so statement in a closing argument. So you've had an argument, and what, you're closing it out because you've accepted the apology? There might be a cleaner way to read that. I think I'm sort of in the right general zone of interpretation, but I suspect there's a tighter way to interpret exactly what this means in the context of this punny clue. Anyway, let's just keep going. Excited shout after a thrill ride. Let's do that again. Okay, why didn't I think of that before? What did I say? Let's do it again, maybe? I can't remember. Settles for the night. Oh, roosts. Okay, so, like a chicken, for instance, or you could say that about a person in a sort of playful way. Tony winning actress Gwen, I still don't know. Mes del Dia de los Reyes Magos. Enero, is that January? And this would be the month of the day of the kings. I can't quite. I'd never learned Spanish, so I'm I'm feeling around in the dark here. But I think this will be Enero for January. Cheap ticket spec is SRO, standing room only, and I still don't know this name. Gwen Verdon? Home inspection concern. Oh, radon, gas. Okay, well, good. I really needed that to fill this clue because I just did not know this person's name. And VERDO sounds like it could end with a few possible letters. All right, but we've closed out the bottom of the grid, so let's keep going. Internal regulation is something. We blank the loudest when we blank to ourselves. Eric Hoffer. Looks like lie. We lie the loudest when we lie to ourselves, which seems true enough. Monster called Mish in Tibetan. It must be the Yeti. That's interesting. And mononymous artist who designed dresses at age 6. Wow. I'm not sure. That's interesting, though. I'll be curious to see the answer. Something faithfully rolled out, to go all the way back to this very first clue. Faithfully roll out a prayer rug. Ah, that's a bit of very subtle misdirection, because faithfully looks like it means sort of habitually, or often when we use faithfully, sort of, we faithfully rolled out the old whatever, it could almost be said in a way that means it's almost being done by rote, because it's an article of faith that's taken for granted. But in this case, we mean an article of faith as an actual, genuine article of one's sincerely held faith. And so this is being used in a way that's less idiomatic and more literal, but not really in a punny way. It's just put me on the wrong track. That's very clever cluing. Abbreviation at a pump. Oh, PSI maybe? As in I don't know, pump for a bicycle tire or a car tire, I guess. PSI, pounds per square inch, pound square inch. So huge pop star is a super something. And Erte? Did Erte design dresses at age 6? I mean, that sounds plausible. Not that I knew that, but I'll have to look up those dress designs. Just can't keep quiet on this one. I got to say, you might say. I think that's probably right. And bioclass subject, maybe not. Oh, I gotta say. That's better, because that turns it into a contraction. I gotta say. Yeah, I got to say would be strange. You'd say, I've got to say, or I gotta say. You wouldn't mix those streams. So bioclass subject RNA, and that's why I changed my mind about this, because I figured RNA. And like some stream banks are risen, water level rises. Huge, a supernova. Huge pop star. Oh, that's very funny. So this one, unlike prayer rug, gets the pun question mark indicator here. So a supernova, a star that explodes essentially. So the star goes pop, and it's a huge one. It's not just a nova, it's a supernova. That's a very funny, clever, punny clue. Okay, like some stream bank. So it's not risen then, or what is it? And benefit. Oh, maybe this isn't prayer. Oh, prayer mat, maybe. Okay, so same idea, but yeah, benefit, avail, right. So will benefit you, will avail you. And then, like some stream banks are mossy, perhaps. Right. Stream banks are often mossy, indeed. Internal regulation could be a bylaw. And nickname for singer Swift. Looks like Tay Tay. I think I've probably seen that before. Tay Tay, Taylor Swift. And then doesn't move, sits still. Why didn't I get that before? Why on earth did I not get sit still? That is, in retrospect, the most obvious possible answer to this. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, there we go. That was the Friday crossword. Very nice puzzle. And I don't know if there's any significance of this, what looks to me like an illustrated bow. I don't know if that's what it is, but I don't know if there's any significance to it. Probably not. It's a themeless crossword. Just a nice looking grid, I suppose. But there we have it. That was the Friday Themeless by Brooke Husick and Huang Kim Vu, and I really enjoyed it. We had some nice, clever cluing there, something faithfully rolled out, the prayer mat, a huge pop star, our supernova. The statement in a closing argument, which I'm not 100% sure I'm reading perfectly cleanly, but I get the gist. And yeah, just some nice Friday cluing. This almost feels like a something in between a Friday and Saturday to me. That's almost meaningless. I don't even know why I said that. But yes, a fun Friday puzzle, and let me know how you fared with it yourself. I'm going to claim back my clues from yesterday time today because I do need the time right this moment. But I hope you enjoyed the puzzle, and I'll be back tomorrow for the Saturday edition of the crossword, which is another themeless, our second of two themeless puzzles for the week. So until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Friday. Take care.